So Deva, I don't want to say it's Sanskrit, but I think my mum specifically plucked it out of a Beatles song, but it means goddess because they are pagan as well. So I think it had it tied to their spirituality. St. John is just my mum's maiden name, and so they made St. John my second middle name. So my full legal name is Skye Deva St. John Bennett.
We'll put you on standby and ring you when we need you. Don't cut it, don't fix your teeth. We'll put you on standby and let you know when it's time to play.
I don't practice paganism, but there is a lot about paganism that I do align with. I feel like sort of the greatest deity is the planet and what it can create, and I think there's magic in us. I don't think there's magic above us, you know. I think there's more, but I don't think it's like a sentient father-like being. I don't believe in that, but I do believe that there's more to this life. There's a lot more beyond death and beyond birth than just nothing. My childhood was, on the whole, very happy. I was an active kid. My first love was to be a professional figure skater because I started skating when I was, I probably would have been 4 or 5, but I quickly learned that I didn't quite have the discipline for it. And so, and it was really the sort of performance aspect that I was super into. And I was kind of a sickly kid. We, at the time, didn't really know why, because I didn't get the cystic fibrosis diagnosis until I was a teenager. But I would constantly be on antibiotics and in and out of the sort of doctor's surgery and coughing and being kind of, I don't know, gross.
I wanna breathe like I used to when I was a child. Now there's blood in the sink, and I don't.
Today has been difficult. Started out okay. But every day I'm so prone to feeling nauseous. And it didn't help today when I grabbed like a Yo Sushi thing from Tesco just because I couldn't be bothered to cook anything for lunch. And I accidentally picked up the regular Cali roll, not the vegan one. So I had like a couple chunks before I realized I was eating fish, and it made me feel kind of gross. And I still feel kind of gross. But I was feeling gross beforehand, you know, like I feel nauseous a lot. And I don't know what drug it is that's doing it. And I'm depressed. I'm quite depressed today. It's not every day, but I'm more prone to it these days, just crying and feeling undermotivated, or like I can't bring myself to do things, and I can't think of what it's like. Mentally I just want to take a nap, and physically I just want to take a nap, or physically all I can do is take a nap. Otherwise I'm gonna throw out. Like, even now, I don't want this to be a very long video because I just feel like I'm gonna throw up. And my hair is thinning quite badly. Every day, like every bath and shower I have, I'll end up with like a clump of hair in my hand. It's my birthday tomorrow. Hope tomorrow's better. Because this really sucks. The pit of my stomach is desperate to blossom. The roots of my lungs are all clogged for a sputum. And I just wanna scream. A demon is clutching my throat and I'm gasping for air, but all that I can taste are the tears I've been drinking. My mind's still ticking, my feet still kicking.
So CF is a genetic condition, a lung condition that you are born with, where essentially my body creates way too much mucus. Like, it doesn't clean the airways the way normal lungs would. And so what happens is my body is basically like a germ farm, and things get stuck in my lungs really easily. So I can pick up any number of bugs or viruses, and they'll often be really difficult to kick and could develop into things like pneumonia and more serious things like that. And it's a pretty bleak life expectancy for most people. I mean, a lot of people with CF don't actually live past 30. Some don't even live into their adolescence. A lot of kids die. I had a cousin who died in babyhood and had it. We're learning now that there's a lot of people out there walking around with CF who don't even know it, because there are varying degrees of severity. So for me, I've got you need two recessive genes, and one of my genes is kind of bog standard normal. It's a bit, can I swear? I just realized I didn't know. I was about to say.
Actually, I don't know. Go for it. Do it. Say whatever.
I was just going to say it's a bit shit, but one of my genes is actually all right. It's like bent, but not completely broken like the other one. And so that's why we didn't actually find out I had it until I got sick as a teenager. And the sort of active lifestyle I had as a kid kept my lungs strong and kept things moving through, just the natural progression of it. And some of the poor choices I made as a teenager. Now we are over 10 years later, and my lungs are still kind of worsening. Not in like a scary way. They're just, I have to do more to stay healthy, more than I used to. I did a movie when I was a kid called Skellig, and the character was called Mina, and she was like this cool boho. She lived in a caravan with her mum, and she loved nature, and she had books on owls, and she was kind of cool. I mean, my favorite job of all time was a job in Hungary for a miniseries called Pillars of the Earth. I think it was like on and off 9 months or something. And they built like a whole entire medieval village in the middle of this open space in Hungary. And just being a little kid and sort of having a huge imagination, like I just would walk around this village. Everything was so like historically accurate. Like my dad's he was an archaeologist, and he's a huge history buff, and he sort of instilled that love of history in me. So I'd be walking around this set looking at everything like, oh my God, it's also historically accurate and just incredible. And they were like built with real materials. Like they sunk a lot of money into that show.
My name is Pyra.
What? Oh, right. Mine is...
I know you.
You're Rex, right?
I mean, with voice acting, my voice sounds the way it does because I've had a lifetime of wrecking it from coughing and being sick. And that, you know, that's benefited with some of the jobs that I've got. I've got it because there is a rasp to my voice. And it's the same with singing. Like, the tone of my voice is, you know, I really like it because there is a rasp that I can play with. But in terms of performing, you know, if I don't do a lot of physio or go to the gym a lot and sort of work on my gig fitness, gigs can be really difficult because a lot of my music is very, you know, high energy. There's a lot of dancing and headbanging involved and long, sort of huge sustained notes. It's difficult to sometimes do it all when I'm having a particularly bad lung day. Get out of breath really easily and feel like I'm gonna pass out at the end of a gig. Like, even though it's hard work, I would never sacrifice the performance just because of, you know, like, I like going crazy. It's part of what makes it fun. I mean, there's been times where I felt lightheaded, but I just sort of like to think that it informs the performance a bit more. Just in, you know, conveying a certain vibe, especially if I'm doing a song about CF. I don't know, I just think if I have to live with it, I could just use it. I've always found it really difficult to relate to people when they're discussing like sex, like, oh, I would fuck that guy, you know, like, it's always been like, it feels like a lifestyle I'm detached from. So I noticed it a lot when I was a teenager, thinking, you know, I should really be feeling things that I'm not feeling, you know, about people and celebrities even, you know, like, it's just something I'm not interested in, but maybe I'll be interested in it one day, or maybe I just haven't done anything yet, so that's why I don't care, or like that kind of thing. But you know, I got in a relationship and my feelings didn't change, and took years and years and years of denial and sort of bargaining, and like, honestly, it kind of, you do end up going through the stages of grief when you discover something about yourself that you feel should be there and isn't, and you think, God, well, who am I broken? What's this? Like, is there something wrong with me? Do I need to see a therapist? Am I repressing some kind of memory? Like, what's going on? And then eventually you just kind of come to learn that you're built a specific way and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just who you are. For a while, it made me feel, well, yeah, like broken and, or at least not fully whole. I would ostracize myself from certain conversations, people I know. But more recently, now that I've come to terms with it and accepted it, I just, you know, I just use it to, you know, write music. And it's strange. Like, you think, you know, I still want kids and I feel like I'd be a great mum, but being a person who doesn't want to have sex, it's weird to kind of think, as a human being, you know, my monkey brain, if I want to be a mother, surely I would want to have sex, but that's just not how it works. And I suppose it's the same for anyone of any sexuality. You could be a great parent, but not necessarily have all the parts or desire to access the parts of people to make that happen. It's made me a more, I guess, introspective person, and you just end up having more questions about like what it means to exist and what it means to be a human being. I feel like if I came out cookie cutter, then I wouldn't ask some of the questions that I've been asking. But maybe that's just me. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You just experience love in a different way. You're capable of love and you're worthy of it. There are a ton of people out there who are just like you. My DMs are always open if you want to ask any questions, talk about it, or vent. Yeah.
I slammed my foot in the car door 'cause it wasn't gonna take me where I needed to go.
I'm super proud of Pity Party. That was an interesting one because we kind of Frankensteined it together from 4 other songs, because I had sort of the demos for each on my laptop. And so I kind of picked them all apart and shoved them all together and wrote a bass line for it and then sent it off to my producer, and we built it together from there. That one I'm quite proud of, Pity Party, just because it's quite interesting. It doesn't really have a specific genre to it. Well, it started with frustration, because that song's about being frustrated at your career and the sort of position you're in. But as soon as I started sticking things together and playing with production and the more interesting kind of aspects of the song started coming through, I got super, super gassed. And I think you can hear that in the song, you know. You know, there's a lot going on, and I kind of wanted the song to have like a kind of party atmosphere, caravan palace thing. And yeah, when we started working on it and doing it, I was like, yeah, this is sick. Like, this is really fun. I'm loving it. Eventually, like, the source emotion gets replaced by just excitement, because I love making songs. And so once I get over the original emotion, I'm just excited about the song as a whole. You know, I want to establish myself as a musician primarily. I have been acting since I was a little kid. It was something that I love, and I do still love it. But the thing that made me want to sort of switch was when I was a teenager, I started getting really into music and discovering my voice and trying new things. And so, yeah, I started writing songs when I was a teenager, but I didn't really get the confidence to put them out until I was, you know, in my early 20s. I was sort of in a part of my life where I really needed to do it for my own mental health. And so I put them out, and I have never looked back. It was the best decision I ever made for myself, not just for my career, but just for me. I felt more like myself playing my songs and performing on a stage than I had my whole life doing anything else. My first gig was at a venue in Shoreditch called Cargo. And I think I just found it through some promoter who reached out to me on Facebook, and it was an empty show. I think we played to like maybe 7 people who came to support, and then like the engineers and the bar staff. But it was fun. It was a huge room. It felt great to be up there and sort of perform for the first time. I wasn't nervous, oddly. I was just super excited. I'm kind of just present. I'm not really thinking about what's going to happen after the gig, and I'm not thinking about what happened before the gig. I'm just kind of thinking of the song, and I'm trying to stay upright, and I'm trying to perform and be this character. Every performer has this heightened version of themselves that they access when they perform. So I'm just kind of enjoying being a different version of me for a while. It's like a release. I was primarily inspired to start singing when I got into Paramore, and I started singing Paramore songs. I feel like that's kind of the story for most women in rock who are my age. But I was super into Paramore, and then as I got older and I started exploring more genres, I really fell in love with sort of pre-2000 rock, like Alanis Morissette, Beck, Jack White, specifically a band called Blind Melon. I love them. My favorite song you asked was one of theirs called Vernie. I don't know why, it's just, I think I've been listening to this band, like my parents introduced me to this band. I've been listening to them my whole life, so I think it just accesses parts of my brain that remind me of happier times. But that specific song, Vernie by Blind Melon, is you know, it can make me cry. Sort of alt rock of pre-millennium and post-millennium, but like I love the way that songs are produced now. Like I adore, say, 21 Pilots produce their songs brilliantly, and the songwriting choices are quite cool as well. AWOL Nation, Imagine Dragons recently put out an album that is fantastic. I'm becoming quite drawn to sort of making each song have a more interesting construction than just, you know, verse, chorus, middle eight, chorus. I quite like having everything sound different. Like you can't really predict the direction the song's going to go in. Oddly, I do get a lot of ideas for songs while I'm on the train. I don't know why. I think, I listen to a lot of music on the train, and so I'll like listen to a certain hook or like a sort of guitar thing that somebody else does, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I've been writing a song and it's made me cry before, or I've been writing a song and it's made me angry before. I've been writing a song and it's made me tired or excited. Thankfully, I haven't experienced a lot of writer's block yet. I've got quite a lot of songs. I always thought I'd be a perfectionist, but I'm really not. Like, I've been working with a writer right now who has a few kind of perfectionist traits. I'll write something and I'll be happy with it, and the song could be done in 10 minutes. I rarely go back to it to sort of double check I still like it. Like, usually I still like something. I work with my very, very good friend Dan and Amelia. So Dan's my DOP, Amelia's my AD, and the three of us are just kind of like love them so much, and I trust them so much. Like, I could bring any concept to them and we'd be able to pull it out. And Dan's got a bunch of great people on his team that he can bring in if we need them. Because, you know, money is a thing, we try to keep every shoot to a day. Like, we did the dye video in one day. It was a long day, but we did it in one day. And actually, the turnaround was remarkably quick. Like, with Preacher, I was calling around studios for ages trying to find something, trying to secure visual effects and like people to be in it and props, and it was a really long process, and we did record that in 2 days. But with Dye, it was, let's record a music video next week. Okay, I'll find a location. Oh, I found one. Great, they're gonna take it. Oh, it's not that expensive. Great, now we need a bathtub. I'll look on Facebook Marketplace. I'll pick one up a couple of days later. Like, it was boom, 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 really surprisingly fast. And then it was done like a week later. And the editing was quite a quick process as well. I don't think we'll ever get something that easy again. I kind of don't trust that it went that well. I just love everything about it, really. Like, I love working with my friends. I love putting something cool on film. I love performing.
I'm not scared of death cause I don't know what to expect. I don't know if it's a phase or an absolute change. Will my soul protect me from the fear of losing my brain? Will the lesson be enough to make the loss worth the pain? Or the struggled enough? Was I kind? Was I honest? Beholden enough to the people who believed in me? I wish I could just crawl inside your mind and scream you were enough. Your potential is infinite and your future is.
It's hard work. It's really difficult, but I'm never like, oh, I wish this was over. And I think it's largely because of the people I work with. You know, if I had a different team, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. Yeah, I think if I was ever to do an album, I would need to know that I would be able to at least make back the money I spent on it. Even if I don't make a profit, you know, I didn't go into it for money. I went into it because I needed to do it. It's just how I express myself. It's almost like a therapy. You know, it'd be nice for in 5 years to be able to put an album out and to be able to tour and at least go to America, or at least be playing an early slot on the main stage of Reading or Glastonbury, you know, at least be able to sell out Brixton Academy. I don't need to sell out the O2. I don't even need to play the O2, you know. I would just love to have a following that we can fill out a medium-sized venue or a medium to large-sized venue. That would be great. I would be happy with that. And to be able to collaborate with people, you know, who I really love and respect. I've always loved the idea of earning the respect of people that I respect, and being able to email someone with a demo and be like, are you vibing with this? Would you like to work on it with me? That I would feel that I've achieved my goal, you know, I've achieved my dream if I can do any one of those things. It's bloody difficult. It's really, really difficult, and don't ever compromise your creativity for what's trending or what somebody else thinks you should do, because there's nothing worse than having a song that you can't stand and not feeling like it fully represents you or your art. Every success you have will be the result of thousands and thousands of failures, and you just got to get used to getting through the tough times and trusting that the good times are coming.
straight into the sun. Tapestry of modern day mythology is sprung. Preaching, oh, I have to confess, I'm sick of preaching peace to death. You can't sell sin to the sword. I never signed up for your game.